Churchill Downs is once again host to racing fans here in Louisville for America's great turf classic, the Kentucky Derby. The day is sunny, the track is fast, and picking a winner is a popular pastime on Derby Day. The day when a gal can wear a different hat, and the mint juleps flow like water. Betting on the big race tops the $1.5 million mark. Favorite is number 1, Native Dancer, Alfred Gwynn Vanderbilt's unbeaten gray colt, seeking his 12th win. 100,000 onlookers, 11 starters, everything is in focus for Diamond Jim Moran. The 79th Run for the Roses is just about set to go. A press on the button by starter Ruby White will send them off and running. And they're off. 11 3-year-olds out after fame and the winning share of the $118,000 purse. Number 10, Dark Star, comes fast on the outside to take the lead. Dark Star, winner of the Derby trial, is 5th choice of the bettors at 25-1, but his star is rising today. The Cane Hoy stable entry holds his lead in the backstretch with the favorite Native Dancer back in the pack. Eddie Arcaro on Correspondent, seeking his 6th Derby win, makes his bid on the final turn, but Correspondent can't keep up the pace. Eric Gurn, up on Native Dancer, makes his move at the top of the stretch, overtaking Correspondent, number 3, and setting his sights on the front-running Dark Star. Is this the end of the victory trail for Native Dancer, or can he make up for lost time? Here's the finish in slow motion, and a thriller. The Dancer, under solid whipping for the first time in his career, closes the gap with every stride. And jockey Henry Marino on Dark Star knows he's got a race on his hands. It's going to be close. It's a heartbreaker for Native Dancer. He gave it a try, but loses by a head to Dark Star, leader all the way, paying his backers handsomely for their support. A $90,000 thoroughbred receives a well-deserved pat from his jockey. Dark Star was a blazing comet today.
His winning races were shown coast to coast, in black and white, of course. In the 1953 Kentucky Derby, Native Dancer was odds-on favorite, but everyone should know that the race is not won until the horses have run. The figure of fate in this derby took the form of Dark Star, who went to the front early under a masterful ride by Henry Marino. The undefeated Native Dancer was roughed up in the first turn and dropped back way off the slow pace. Encountering much trouble in the 11-horse field, jockey Eric Guerin finally found room on the rail as they turned for home. Urged on by millions shouting at television sets and thousands at the racetrack, the gray narrowed the margin but ran out of room. It was to be his first and only loss. At Pimlico in Maryland, where Native Dancer was foaled, the odds were even shorter in the Preakness, 20 cents on the dollar. Even though Dark Star again went to the front, Native Dancer was kept near the pace this time, never worse than third. Dark Star went wrong in the race and never raced again. Although Native Dancer inherited the lead sooner than expected, he outlasted a game Jamie Kay. His long and fluid stride, never more admired. "19 victories from 20 races, but the race he lost was the one valued above all others. His influence on the world's thoroughbred bloodlines could be documented in gold. Retired to his breeder's Sagamore farm, he produced a series of champions and sires and dams of champions. His son, Raise a Native, was undefeated and voted champion at 2. Injured and retired to stud early, he carried on the dynasty with equal brilliance. Raise a Native's son, Majestic Prince, won his Kentucky Derby beating Arts and Letters, then lost only one race, the Belmont Stakes, to that same horse. And the grandson of Raise a Native Affirmed, engaged in the most heated rivalry of his marvelous career with Aladar, a son of Raise a Native. Their races in 1977 and 1978 define the words thoroughbred courage. That's Aladar inside and Affirmed and Steve Cawthon outside. Native Dancer, in the whiteness of old age, could well be pardoned for that one lost opportunity in a life full of achievement. Native Dancer blood winning classic races became common. His son Kauai King, a lucky purchase by owner Mike Ford, won the 1966 Kentucky Derby and Preakness and was later retired to stud near his sire at Sagamore Farm. Let Mike Ford express what winning the Derby means.
To me is a very difficult thing to do because any great emotion that you have is a very difficult thing to describe. It's certainly the biggest thrill that either me or my family have ever had in our entire lifetime, or as a matter of fact, that we ever expect to have. The actual winning of the race is something that you dream about, like a boy dreams about becoming president of the United States when he's a young lad. The race itself was, of course, one of the most thrilling things, or the most thrilling thing that I've ever seen. The stretch itself was probably the longest run that I've ever seen any horse make. At least it felt that way to us, and particularly the last 5 jumps. It looked like Advocator and Blue Sky. Of course, I had no idea who those 2 horses were that were closing on him at that particular time. But I will say this, in the last couple of jumps, I mean, it was quite obvious to us that they weren't going to get to him. But these things happen so fast. When you're talking, as you know, a length is a fifth of a second, and the thoughts that go through your mind in that length of time, and the thrill that you've got, the emotion that you feel, the crowd noise, probably screaming yourself and don't even realize it, it's just more than anyone can describe.
Although not a success at stud, Kauai King did excel on the racetrack, adding luster to the reputation of Native Dancer.